All right. Hi, YouTube.
Hello.
This is the Ancap Barbershop pre-show show. Which one of these is left? That's right. What all do we have to do to get ready? We have the sampler up.
Did you already plug back into your recorder and everything?
Yeah, no, we're recording.
Oh, okay. I just never saw you pull the SIM card out of your computer.
It's recording to something, and I did pull it out, and I put it in there, and that's what it's recording to.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. This won't be on the podcast. This is our YouTube channel, and we're Scott and Adam. This is the Ancap Barbershop. And we're kind of trying to do a little bit of work in here, get the lighting improved a little bit. So hopefully by the time this makes it to you, it will be new and improved for your viewing pleasure. So I felt like there was something, that's one thing that's very important to never forget. I felt like there was something else. Stick around to the end of the show, and afterwards, so where the podcast cuts off a little bit before and a little bit after, we'll have some YouTube stuff most of the time. And I'm actually going to do a quick virtual tour of the new and improved setup, kind of give you guys, if any of you are into podcasting stuff or even just curious, if you're a gearhead or whatever on how we do this, we can show you. And it's changed a couple times, and this is the first time doing it a little bit different. And also, I guess we're going to have to say that again, because we're going to have to say it during the show, so it's in the podcast, so people can that listen and be like, oh, that is an incentive for me to go to the YouTube channel. So my apologies for the, what's the word there?
Repeating yourself, repetition, whatever.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me make sure. Oh, you know what it was? And I'm glad, because it's in Evernote, which is an amazing program. Let me see if I can make my Evernote bigger too. I'm sure there's view options in here, but I don't know how to fuck with them. Wait, can I do that? That's super helpful. What else can I move around? Anything? Okay. Our bumps for Daryl.
Yeah, we do have to record that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we need to be super quiet while each other is talking, or while each other are talking. While Zur is talking, do not speak. And so what's the line? Hey, this is Scott from the Ancap Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. That's it. I'm going to do it one more time. Hey, this is Scott from the Ancap Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. 3 times. Hey, this is Scott from the Ancap Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. Your turn, sir.
Hello, this is Adam from the Ancap Barbershop, and you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. One more time.
Do it 2 more times.
Hey, this is Adam from the Ancap Barbershop. You're listening to PLL Radio with Daryl W. Perry.
Una más.
Hey everyone, this is Adam from the Ancap Barbershop. You're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry.
And do you want to try to do them together?
Yeah, sure.
Hey everyone, this is Scott.
And this is Adam
from the Ancap Barbershop. And you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio with Daryl W. Perry. Wow, that was perfect.
Yeah, except for you stole the last line from me. I was supposed to say with Daryl W. Perry.
Oh, were you? Okay, sorry. Hey everybody, this is Scott.
And this is Adam
from the Ancap Barbershop.
See, now I see. Damn it.
All right, I'm still confused, but we're going to wing it.
All right.
Hey everybody, this is Scott.
And this is Adam
from the Ancap Barbershop. And you're listening to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio
with Daryl W. Perry.
That's it. Got it.
And then the most important one. You ready?
What?
Can I do the What Up Pimps one?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What up, pimps? You're listening to PLL Radio with Daryl W. Perry.
My N-word. I can't keep saying it on podcast.
Yeah.
I've said the N-word 2 or 3 times so far.
Why can't you keep saying it?
It's 2017.
Don't let people tell you how to live, dude.
Well, I don't know. That's like, you know what else is? I could have a Confederate flag in front of my house, and I'm not going to let people tell me how to live, but
I mean, they shouldn't let people tell them how to live either with their Confederate flags.
It's true.
Doesn't mean it's right.
I'm just saying. I want to, if I ever get divorced, keep my options open if I want to bank some hot SJW chicks.
Yeah, you're right.
This concludes the YouTube pre-show show. I think I'm ready. God damn it, dude. It's hot in here. It's fucking hot.
Sorry, do you want me to cut it back on for a minute?
No, we don't have time for that.
Okay.
Time is money. So I guess I'm ready whenever you are. We'll figure it out.
You want me to say the foundations of libertarianism?
Today we're discussing the foundations of libertarianism.
Yeah, that sounds good,
Yeah.
right?
It's a philosophy show.
Just whenever.
I'm ready.
Okay. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Ancap Barbershop. This episode, we're talking about... Oh, man. See how I lost it.
See, YouTube is going to know how many times it takes you, so you better get on your game or they're going to fucking think that you're some kind of
I thought we already
dipshit.
concluded the post-show or the pre-show show.
Yeah, I'm not going to edit like in between, though.
Oh, okay.
It's just a pain in the ass.
What did we say it was? The
Episode 23,
Yeah.
The Foundations of Libertarianism.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the
That's fine.
Hello.
Just keep going. Press through. Hold on. This is going to be a long podcast.
I know. It takes us this long every time, usually. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ancap Barbershop. This episode, we're talking about the foundations of libertarianism. Episode 23 begins now.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancap Barbershop, your source for libertarianism and anarchy. Now for your host, the inimitable, the legendary Adam Brown. Scott McDonald.
If I was ever to kill myself, I'd go out with a show. I'd hang my nails cold, talk to sequel down the road. I'd leave my mangled body there for all eyes to see. Then they know God hated me. Now I've been faithful, man, I've done the best I could. But nothing in this world has ever worked out for my good. Now I'm a God-fearing...
Word up, mother truckers. How are y'all doing today? I don't know why I did that. What's up? This is episode 23 of the Ancap Barbershop. How are you, Adam? Are you here? What are you doing?
Pretty good, man. I am here. I am.
That's a good
in the
answer to
building
that
with you.
question.
Yeah.
That was a very sensible question for me to ask.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Are you here?
I am here.
That's good.
I'm here, and I'm queer, and I'm ready to record a podcast.
Nice.
So we're going to be talking about the foundations of libertarianism. But before we get into that, we're gonna go through some news, and this is gonna take us a little while. We've got a good bit. I want to talk about Charlottesville and everything that's kind of happened, and I want to get your take because I mean we've talked about it a little bit, but not a whole lot. So what do you think? What do you think of all the events that have transpired? Give me your 5 words. Sum it all up. 30 seconds.
5 words?
Yeah.
I'm not going to use 5 words. I don't know.
All right. Okay. Just freestyle it.
I don't know. Well, let's see. The first, couple times this has happened, right? Like in Berkeley and different places like that. I've sort of shrugged
As
it
in
off.
IRL, like memeing?
Yeah.
Like political LARPing or whatever we're going to call this shit.
Whatever it is, dude. These little battles that are going on.
Sorry for the noise. I have to be comfortable.
That's important. Yeah, the first couple times I shrugged them off, kind of joked about them, like this is crazy.
Right.
It's just a bunch of kids being stupid. This one, I don't know. I'm starting to get annoyed by it. I think it's weird. I think the root problem here is, well, obviously violence, right? Like violence is wrong, right?
Right.
I think it just goes to show the polarization is so real at this point, right? I think that's the key problem, the underlying problem, right? Is the fact that. And I think that comes whenever you have a two-party system like we have. We've talked about the problems with that, many times on the show. I think that's one of the weird side effects that you're going to get whenever you split everyone up into one side or another. It's the weird tribalism stuff.
Right.
And go far enough down the line, it's been long enough now, dude, people start acting like animals about it, right? You're only on one side or the other. You're telling me you can't have more thoughts than just being on one team or another? You know, that
Right.
seems crazy to me.
And I don't know. So I watched. There's a like a 22-minute long Vice piece, and
I watched it with you. It was nice.
you did, yeah. I showed that to you, and I don't know, man. A couple things that I'm thinking is like okay. So the best thing you can do, in my opinion, just from Jump Street, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you is if this shit comes to your town, is probably like stay home.
Stay inside. Yeah.
Now, there is something that somebody posted in Anson's libertarian group. That was a joke. Anson is a real libertarian, and it is a real libertarian group. But some of the
It's
people,
Anson Knowles from the radio locally around here.
he's not doing the radio anymore.
You're
He's
right,
taking
yeah.
a break. Yeah, but yeah,
Just for anyone who didn't know.
yeah, our buddy from the LP locally here, very heavily involved, very good guy, friend of mine. But a lot of people in that group just post some crazy ass state of shit. But somebody posted something about there's going to be a defend like Confederate monuments in I think in downtown Huntsville thing.
Really?
Yeah,
That's kind of scary.
well, I don't know how big it's going to be, but we should go because we have a camera and we have an external recorder now.
Yeah.
Tascam DR40. We'll be talking about that a little bit after the show, but we should. And this is getting at my point is if this comes to your town, like I'm telling you, the best thing you do is load your guns and stay in your house.
Yeah.
But I mean, like it's sickening
Right.
how overtly racist these people are, and I wouldn't want them in my town either. You
Right.
know,
Well, it's a rough thing. Like if we go, right? I mean, I
Yeah.
guess we're like halfway members of the media. You know, like we want to document this or
Right.
whatever.
we would definitely be a neutral party.
How do you be a neutral party though? You stand on one side or the other. Right?
Well, that's what you say, so people don't throw rocks at you and shit.
Yeah, we're with the media. Like, don't hit us with a brick or a bike lock or whatever.
Right.
You know? Don't mace me, please.
You know, here's the thing that's interesting, and I've seen, and of course, this is thousands and thousands of people involved. This is over the course of a couple of different events. I've seen specifically Antifa people tell reporters, stop fucking filming, okay, punch in the face, like women and shit. I've seen a couple of different instances of that.
Wow.
And of course, this is probably confirmation bias on my part. I haven't seen anything like that from the right. I am in no way defending Nazis, and let's go ahead. I don't think we have to do this for this show, but we're not racist. I'm not racist. I'm not going to be sticking up for those guys.
No.
I'm pretty appalled. And you know what? Honestly, like even at this point, and I'm the hillbilly redneck Alabama libertarian dude, I feel like I'm starting to turn into a little bit of an SJW. Like I feel like Dave Smith is getting a little like New York Jew libertarian podcaster Dave Smith is getting a little bit too conservative for me. Wow. No, not really. Of course, in reality, I worship the ground that Dave Smith walks on.
Yeah.
But seriously, like watching that Vice piece, especially like Christopher Cantwell now is all over the news, which is super fucking weird.
Yeah.
Because I know a couple of people personally, on somewhat of a personal level from Keene and stuff, and I've known about him. I don't know Chris. I've never met him. For a couple of years, and he's been one of those things that always this crazy guy that always pops up in this very small group. And now, like, fucking the local conservative radio guy here, Dale Jackson, is, like, sharing shit about Christopher Cantwell. Everybody knows who he is now.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Ooh.
Because
I thought, like, this is the first I've ever experienced Christopher Cantwell was on this documentary, right?
Yeah, and the majority of the world,
Yeah.
probably. But now everybody knows who the fuck he is.
I've heard people talk about him, right, at Pork Fest and things like that, and a little bit from you and stuff.
Right.
And I've always been like, who is that guy? And you'd be like, don't even fucking worry about it, you know? And
It's not important.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
give him any views.
Yeah, this is the first I've seen him was on that documentary, and he looked like a grade A piece
Right.
of shit, honestly. Like
He is, and before everybody starts freaking out, I still say, like, let's talk ideas out. Let's not get violent.
Right.
That's absolutely my baseline position. But it is kind of disgusting in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just how over the top when at the end of the day, like, I'm the guy that's like, hey, look, racism isn't a thing anymore. Nobody's like really having to, you know, except for
Yeah.
these little things here and there. And even this really isn't a thing. It's a couple hundred fucking people,
Yeah.
you know, over the course of, you know, a bunch of states that kind of gathered up. And then it gets in the media and it looks like it's more than it is, right?
Right.
I don't know. I think it's a very, very, very fucking stupid and very, very dangerous way to spend. Like whenever, towards the beginning of that Vice piece, whenever whenever, you know, the one side is just screaming white power, and then the other side black power, or no, not white power and black power, white lives matter, black lives matter, black lives matter. It's like, whoa, this is a bad way to spend your time. This is dumb.
Right.
This is very unproductive,
But-
and it's absolutely dangerous. And
It's incredibly dangerous.
if anybody's been living under a rock, like somebody's died now,
Yeah.
which you know, stuff like that has happened in other countries. But I mean, now with this IRL memeing, political LARPing stuff, somebody has died. And I said that somebody on the right wing would pull out a gun and kill somebody. That did not happen. It was a car thing. Whether or not that dude was like just trying to get through a place
being
and
malicious or not, that's still a lot of question. Right?
yeah, it's kind of. I've watched a few different angles, and it kind of seems inconclusive. The people on the left, absolutely, like even if it's 1 in 100 on either side, that's kind of the problem. Is like you show up with a bottle, you're gonna hit somebody in the head with, and then it's on for everybody, which is really sad and unfortunate. It makes these events like a bad idea.
Yeah.
In the long run. But if you're gonna tell me like everybody that showed up on the right like wasn't looking for a fight, I'm not completely buying that. You know,
I can see that, yeah.
I mean,
They definitely look like it in that documentary.
Yeah, I think so. Were a lot of people, probably the majority of people on both sides, completely peaceful, at least in intention? Probably.
Think so? I don't know.
Maybe
They were,
you don't know. I mean, it's at the end of the day, we're generalizing about individuals, and that's fucking
a bad
retarded.
idea, right.
Yeah, it doesn't get you anywhere.
But I say, bottom line is what this comes down to, right? Is as much as Christopher Cantwell is a piece of shit, right? As much as he has the worst ideas that I've heard, you know,
Right.
I'm not gonna punch him in the face. I'm not gonna do it. You know, like that seems crazy. Like,
Yeah.
I think whenever someone like that talks, and whenever he spews his ideas, I think he delegitimizes himself, right? Like he hurts himself more.
This is Dave Smith's point.
Yeah.
Like, because he
cool,
had Chris, did you know he had Chris on his show?
I think you told me that. Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah. I don't know the specifics about it, but yeah, to me it seems like when people like that have bad ideas,
Right.
you don't want to stop them from saying bad ideas. Let them tell their bad ideas so people know they're bad. You know.
Yeah, and every time he has people like that on, he catches a lot of shit for it. But you know, it's like, oh, you're being chummy with this guy, and the point he makes is like, well, you know, I can go on Fox News and talk to some fucking killer from the CIA, and nobody has a problem with it. But I talked to one crazy fuck, like, but he's straight up like, you give these people a platform and they'll embarrass themselves.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
There's
You can interview whoever
such
you want.
a like vocal, tiny fucking minority of people believe this. Also, this is a really important point for any left leaning people at all. Like, right, like, and I'm not a Republican. I'm not a right wing guy per se. But the vast majority of those people are just as appalled. Like, I know some of them are saying stuff about free speech, and that's really offensive to some of you guys. But people in general are appalled by racism and by Nazis or whatever, right? Their granddaddies fought in the war against the Nazis too, right? That people in general don't think this is a good thing.
Most people really just look out for themselves, not really, and don't really, you know, they're just trying to go to work, and they work with a mixed group of people like everyone else does, and they want to come home and take care of their families the same way.
Right.
There are obviously bad people out there.
There are, and there are, you know, people that are vocally concerned about statues and shit, which whatever, but people on the right are, at the back of their head, they're really, really concerned about freedom, and they're concerned about losing freedoms.
Yeah.
So this guy, he must be a fucking racist too because he wants to defend free speech. Well, you know what? Fuck free speech, because free speech includes hate speech, and that's fucking bullshit, and they're inciting violence. So fuck them. And then everybody that's right of center is a Nazi. That's a problem. But that seriously, like, have a little understanding and compassion. And everybody in general, that's how we get around shit like this.
Right.
And don't fucking go to these rallies and shit.
Yeah. One thing, I don't want to derail this, but one thing I want to talk about, and it's not really that important at all, but using the word Nazi is weird for me. That kind of bothers me, and I don't know why. Like, maybe it's really accurate, but I think of
some of these, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. When I think of Nazi, right? I think of World War II Germany, right? We're not in World War II, and we're not in Germany. Like, just because they have like similar ideas, there are lots of people who have similar ideas. I don't know if like,
if you're carrying around a swastika flag, at that point, like, okay,
then you
sure,
call him what's the word? A neo-Nazi, right? I mean,
whatever.
Okay, like,
sure.
For some reason, that sounds better to me. Like, call him, I don't know, a neo-Nazi. Then I guess that makes. But nonetheless, like, someone who supports Nazi ideology or whatever, I don't know. That's a weird thing for me. I don't know why that bothers me more than anything. Like, it shouldn't, because it's not important.
It's because you're a closet racist.
I know.
What do you is Chris is Chris Cantwell a Nazi? There's a question. What do you think about that?
I mean, no, I think he's an idiot. I think he's a neo-Nazi. Maybe, like I said, he's a modern day. I don't know. The word Nazi to me still just implies like. Well, okay. Germany.
Here's the thing.
All I'm saying. You can cough right in the mic.
I thought I was done.
For anyone who
go to the YouTube channel. That wasn't that funny, but it was really funny to me.
Yeah, you like coughed off to the side, leaned up, coughed right in the microphone, then coughed off to the other side.
I thought I was done. And then I have a cold, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. But okay, Chris Cantwell. No, he's not a Nazi. He's a fucking deplorable racist, right? He's a
I can agree with that.
Nasty person, and at least from the way he talks is a peaceful person. That's what he says he wants. He does say he's also like preparing his body for violence and shit, right? Yeah. Or whatever, like making himself more capable of violence in his opinion, whatever, in self-defense, whatever. I mean, I don't care. You still probably should be overtly racist and a fucking d-bag, but he's not a socialist. He's not a national. He is a nationalist. He's a populist or whatever. Yeah. He's a nationalist. Right. But he does believe in free market economics, just for white people, just like fucking Nazis want nationalized health care for white people or whatever.
Are most of those people socialists though? Like,
a lot. Seriously.
Like, I mean, obviously, Cantwell's not.
He is the exception to the rule.
But you think most of them they're fighting were socialists?
Most of these alt-right people. Okay, take for example.
Right. I believe you.
No. And everybody go look this up and let me know if I'm way off. But at least specifically, Richard Spencer, and this is something that has come up a couple of times, is a socialist. He wants nationalized health care. I mean, he pretty much is a Nazi. You know, he's pretty close to it. And I don't want to be one of those guys that throws that around either.
I mean, I guess,
but it's just he wants all that stuff. Yeah, he's fine with collectivizing the stuff and robbing people is the way I see it, as long as it's for white people.
Yeah, I guess you know what. If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, fuck it, dude. It's a duck. All right.
You're still talking about like 20% of the people like at this thing, which is a couple of hundred people out of the country, right?
Yeah.
It's a minority. What do you think about the monument thing? What do you think about statues? Give me your take on that.
I don't care about statues at all. I've never been like much for symbolism at all. Like anything about symbolism, like I don't care about, right? And just
unless it's the black and yellow.
No, fuck that.
Till I die, motherfucker.
like it's about the idea, and you can't sum up the idea with two colors. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I mean, you can but it's like I said, I don't give a fuck what statue they're tearing down, especially when the fucking statue's put there using stolen money in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Who cares? Fucking tear down every statue, put up a statue of whatever you want. I don't care. Just don't use my fucking can I put up a statue of whatever I want in my front yard? Can I put up a statue of fucking Robert E. Lee or whoever it was, like that they were so mad about?
Exactly. And then this is a whole different conversation. And this, to me, and I've been thinking about the sign that I want to take if we go to this thing. Which, if we go, I shouldn't have signs. We should be like, we should go as the press.
Yeah.
But if we finish up early and we want to, reveal our true colors, I was thinking like maybe one that says like auction off the roads. People are like, what the fuck is he talking? Like
sell town hall to Chuck E. Cheese.
Abolish public property, and then another sign. No more tragedy to the commons. That's the root of the problem. It's public versus private property, right?
I say whenever we go there and whenever we get done, right? We're like, all right, this has been successful. We'll just like rock, paper, scissors, pick a side. Who cares what side? And then we'll just go fight each other.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. Yeah, who cares? We're just, and of course, as we've said, this is really, really, really antisocial, negative behavior, and at this point, it's violent.
I'm
you know?
joking. Yeah.
But like I said, like especially after watching that, like if that's your town, like I understand the outrage.
Hell yeah, dude! I don't want that happening in my, I can't say my town. Like, I don't want that happening in this town. That
Like, it's like if like people show up and like tear up like Big Spring Park.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah, whatever.
I'm not like they fucked up my yard.
Yeah.
But it is kind of like, wow, these are really, really nasty people. Maybe I'm not cool headed enough. And I feel like I'm a pretty cool headed person.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if they went and destroyed downtown Huntsville, like how much I would care.
I would care a lot. I mean, because downtown Huntsville isn't all public property. I mean, and even if they are destroying public property, that's a huge problem for all of us. But like especially if you're going like to people's storefronts, which Antifa is absolutely known for.
Yeah.
And destroying and kicking cans.
I've got no issues with that.
Right. Then that to me is extremely, extremely bad. Like that is like, okay, it's time for people to start fucking shooting these people.
There's a really good pizza shop down there. If they broke a window there, I'd be mad.
Right. And when I say that, that's like you're in the pizza shop, motherfuckers breaking in, defending yourself. I'm not talking about like cops coming and fucking killing people in the crowd or bringing in the National Guard.
But if they interrupt my slice of pizza, so help me God.
Oh, fucking McNukes. Yeah. So I've got an article, and I don't know how much of it we'll get into. This is from the New York Times. Actually, Will Coley shared this, and so did Daryl. and I think this is I was about to misuse a word. I was about to say poignant, and it's not. It's actually. What is your sense for that word?
I don't know.
Okay, because I was wrong about this. Will you look up the definition at some point while I'm doing this?
Yeah. How do you know how you spell it?
Poignant, right?
P-O-I.
P is in Paul or Papa.
Oh, yeah, I got you, G. Don't
worry. For decades, Wunsiedel, a German town near the Czech border, has struggled with a parade of unwanted visitors. It was the original burial place of one of Adolf Hitler's deputies, a man named Rudolf Hess. And every year, to residents' chagrin, C-H-A-G-R-I-N. Wow, we've already hit a lot of words that we don't know how to pronounce. Neo-Nazis marched to his gravesite. The town had staged counter-demonstrations to dissuade these pilgrims. In 2011, it had exhumed Hess's body and even removed his gravestone. But undeterred, the neo-Nazis returned. So in 2014, the town tried a different tactic: humorous subversion. The campaign called Recht gegen Recht or something like that. I don't fucking speak German. I don't know how to pronounce this shit. The right against the right. Turned the march into Germany's most involuntary walkathon. For every meter the neo-Nazis marched, local residents and businesses pledged to donate 10 euros, then equivalent to about $12.50 to a program that helps people leave right-wing extremist groups.
That's genius.
Called Exit Deutschland. Okay.
This is wonderful. This is great. Yeah.
There's already in the first two paragraphs or whatever a lot to unpack.
Yeah.
The right against right thing. So the day before I read this article, you and me and Erica, I had this idea, and it's apparently been going on for a long time.
Cool.
But specifically, here's what I think. In response to this shit, there needs to be not yet another, a third identity politics reactionary group. And this should be a non-cringy, right-wing, anti-racist response, right? And I guess like the majority, and you can be racist and be libertarian. It's just kind of like, the guy's not that great.
He's a bad libertarian.
He's a bad. And, I mean, you could be a good capitalist and be racist, I guess. But I think you would have some ethical issues that might spill over into some other stuff. So but I think like, let me say this, like Donald Trump, not that I really care what he does, but the best thing he can do for himself is call these racist folks out, like by name, like the alt-right is a problem, and I disavow that. Like that would kill so much bullshit, right? Don't you think so? Don't you think like so many people on the left, at least they would find something else to criticize, and there is plenty to criticize about Donald Trump.
I think the thing is with Donald Trump though is,
he wants another term?
not only that, which disavowing all that might help. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know how much of.
I don't know that it's going to hurt him that much, man.
If he disavowed it, well, what I think he would feel like he was giving into something on the left. To him, I think it's so polarizing, right and left. Like for him, he's like, I don't care about the people on the left. I don't want their support. I don't need that shit. You know what I mean? And so he's like, I'm not giving him anything. Not giving him an inch of ground. I'm not going to tell him like. I think that's what it is. That's all.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that would be helpful, at least for the right wing, you know.
Right. Also, poignant is evoking a keen sense of sadness.
Wait. I'm glad you brought that back up, but don't read the thing yet. Okay, so I just want to tell people how dumb I am. Like I had a sense for this word poignant, and I thought it meant like, I don't know, like relevant. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was any kind of a sad or negative connotation to it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I heard it in context that confused me, or if I was just curious. Because I do that. I look words up because there's a lot of words I don't know. Oh, so go ahead.
Poignant is evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret.
Yeah, which surprised me.
So poignant is a gross thing, right? Like
yeah, it has a negative connotation.
Yeah.
And that I did not pick up on that. Yep. So
see, I only use words that I know. I don't try to get crazy.
Right.
You're always trying to sound smarter than you are, I think.
But yeah, well, I thought I knew what the word meant. I really did. I thought I knew what the word meant. They turned the march into, and this is back to the article, into a mock sporting event. Someone stenciled onto the street "start" in quotations, like a start line, a halfway mark, and a finish line as if it were a race. Colorful signs with silly slogans festooned, that's an interesting verb, the route. If only the Fuhrer knew, read one. Mein Mampf, M-A-M-P-F, which in parentheses means my munch, M-U-N-C-H. I guess it's like eating, right? Read another that hung over a table of bananas. Okay, yeah, that's like carb loading in the middle of the race or something. A sign at the end of the route thanked the marchers for their contribution to the anti-Nazi cause. 10,000 euros, close to 12 grand in US dollars. And someone, and I don't know what specific year this is, but and someone showered the marchers with rainbow confetti at the finish line.
I think that's genius. First of all, it's nonviolent, and it's such a good way to deter it, right? Like
that's the move.
Yeah.
This. Okay. Look, I'm. This is going to be in the show notes. Everybody, go read this article or go. I don't remember if I even shared it, but go look on Will Coley's page and you'll find it. It eventually goes into and it has some evidence to support. Not only is this like a peaceful way, it's a more effective way of dealing with this, because whenever you and like over the course of time, this has apparently been observed. Like that, I'm not just pulling this out of my ass. Go read the article, call me out if I'm wrong, of course. But whenever you meet this awful, nasty rhetoric with violence, you're doing what they want,
right?
Like, and they're like, "Oh, we're having a peaceful protest." You're feeding right into it. That's my opinion.
I think that's genius. And me and you have been doing a little bit with the LPA, recently.
Yes,
and more than we've ever done, I guess, and which isn't much. So, or at least me. And I think that's something they could get on. That would really help their platform, right? Say the Libertarian Party is going to sponsor, that, right? So they're going to do some fucking hate march or whatever.
Yeah, if there was specifically like a racist thing, which, dude,
don't even show up. Just sponsor the fundraising thing against a charity that they would hate. It would decentivize it, and it would. All
right, so sorry about that, ladies.
Are we recording again? I know you saved it. I didn't know. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Hey, man.
Yeah, we're recording.
Okay, cool.
All right, so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. We had a quick technical thingy. Our camera ran out of juice, so we got it plugged in now. We were not prepared. We thought we were. We thought we had a good battery, and we don't know what happened. But, so with audio, if you're not doing a video, it's pretty easy to be coy and kind of make it seem like that never happened. And I've actually done that several times in the past. But with video, you have a quick jump. Even if the audio is smooth, it's not impossible. But I'm not gonna try to figure it out.
Right.
You're gonna notice anyway. So I do apologize, but honestly, if at this point you're still listening anyway, nothing's gonna stop you. So. Where were we? We were talking about Nazis.
Yeah, I was in the middle of saying that it's such a good idea to of how they had de-incentivized these people, from gathering and doing whatever they were going to do by, donating to a charity that they don't approve of. I'm sure, right? Like, I think that's something the Libertarian Party could get behind, right? You could sponsor that, say like, hey, we're not going to show up. No, none of our members are going to be there. But for every time that every step that they take or whatever, we're gonna donate however much to it. It's going to de-incentivize it. It's going to give them publicity. It's going to make them look good.
Right.
I think it's a good thing all around. I think that's a smart move for the Libertarian Party to make.
I agree, and I think I either did or was about to say, like, we are in Huntsville. I mean, we're in Alabama. Some of that shit could come here, dude.
Good, dude.
We are gonna have apparently, and I haven't looked into it that much, but apparently there's gonna be some sort of local, let's stand up for Confederate monuments thing, which is, just don't care.
I think it's stupid.
Once again, I'll stand up for your ability to defend your private property, even if it's stupid. But tragedy of the commons. I don't.
Right.
That's the problem with things like public property is doesn't deal with value pluralism well. Everybody gets unique. Everybody gets the same outcome, and people have different values. So it's dumb. But yeah, we've got a lot to cover. I'm not going to go too much more into the article here. Let's see. I think there was something. Let me just read the last couple. Germany is not America. For one, neo-Nazis aren't allowed to carry assault rifles. Hold on. Let's jump down a little bit more. The message from us is, you look silly, a coordinator told the local news channel. We're dressed like clowns, and you're the ones that look funny. By undercutting the gravitas white supremacists are trying to accrue, humorous counter-protest may blunt the event's usefulness for recruitment. Brawling with bandana-clad Antifa may seem romantic to some disaffected young men, but being mocked by clowns, probably not so much. Which brings us to Charlottesville and the far-right rallies that will surely follow. To those wondering how to respond, Dr. Steffen says that nonviolent movements succeed because they invite mass participation. That's a good point. Humor can do that, violence less so. The broader issue, in her view, is this. Why do oppressive regimes and movements invest so much in fomenting violence? Think of your president and his talent for dividing the country and generating chaos, because violence and discord help their cause. So why would you, she asks, do what the oppressor wants you to do? Right. So, yeah. You had a little something, some Twitter action or something. What was that?
This won't take long either. There's just something before we get into it. We're still talking on news issues.
Really long news segment this episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Have you heard about the Nicholas Sarwark? I'm hoping I'm not.
I believe that's
something.
I believe that's pretty.
That's
close.
a hard word to say. Sarwark.
It's a weird name.
Yeah.
You
Anyways,
shouldn't have a fucking weird name, and we'd be able to say it right.
What a dick.
What's it? I don't know. Do you have his handle? Ladies and gentlemen, once again, we've had an issue. So I hate to continue to derail this, especially after we just went through this. So the camera's batteries died. I think it's hot up here and batteries aren't doing good. We got that plugged in, so we are recording. And I sincerely, for the podcast listeners, I know this is awful. I do apologize. We will get our shit together now. We know how to do this. We're recording into an external recorder, and it is now plugged in. And because apparently the batteries don't fucking last but like 30, 45 minutes when it's hot as fuck. So I do apologize, and we will continue. I think we were somewhere around the beginning of talking about this Twitter bullshit, Adam. Take it away, sir.
Okay, we're back. All right. So we were talking about Nicholas Sarwark, right? And have you heard about his beef with Tom Woods on Twitter?
A little bit. I think I saw a meme or a blurb.
Yeah. So you don't really know much about what it's about or anything like that?
Tell me. I forget.
So Tom Woods delivered a speech at the Mises Institute, right? And Nicholas Sarwark had, which I'm sure it sounds so weird saying his name. I feel like I'm fucking it up. But anyways,
I think it's correct.
Okay. Well, anyways, he tweeted. He said, "The feel and win. All you learned from Murray Rothbard was his worst political strategy ever." Right.
Right.
And now the interesting thing about that is the speech that Tom Woods gave wasn't about his political strategy or ideology. Right. It was just about his life.
Is he referring to like pleading to the right? or like
I feel like he's playing to the left there. I'm not sure though. I mean, like I said,
I'm saying later on in Rothbard's life, there was kind of some stuff where he's
Okay,
a
yeah.
little bit more amicable towards the right to
Right.
try to get them in.
Mhm. And I'm not familiar with 100% of what Rothbard has ever said.
Sure.
So, yeah. Anyways, after that, Tom Woods, which, by the way, I appreciate, like, Tom Woods just lit him up on Twitter. Like, I appreciate someone who can do that, right? Like, so Tom Woods says, like, he responds with, "As you know, the LP chairman has a very low IQ. Listen to my speech for yourself. What kind of pans you would be offended by it, right?"
Oh, wow. I didn't see any of this.
Yeah, he's spitting fire at him, dude. He's letting him have it, you know. And then Nicholas Sarwark says something along the lines, "If my political party or think tank was the preferred choice of actual Nazis, I'd probably want to make jokes about weed too," right? So that to me is annoying, right? Like, I'm not
Right.
gonna spend a lot of time talking about this, but it's annoying because, like, let's contrast anarcho-capitalism and Nazi socialism, right? That seems insane. That's a bad idea, right? If you're Nicholas Sarwark, I'm sure a lot of things what you say goes under a microscope, right? Which is hard to deal with, you know.
Like everything you say.
Yeah, but that's not my argument. I don't have any issue with Sarwark specifically, right? But what I'm trying to get at is also you see things like the Libertarian Party Twitter like posting just garbage, right? They posted something saying like we should look to North Korea for an example of freedom because they have great weed, right? Like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it says like unironically, non-satire says like it's sad that we can look to hashtag North Korea for an example of more freedom than the United States, and then they post some bullshit article about North Korea has been branded as a weed smoker's paradise, right? Like
That's. I don't want to be critical here, but I mean that's so outside the spectrum of things that I think about on a daily basis. I think about North Korea, and I think about weed, but I don't know. I guess that is a fresh perspective.
That's reaching as far as I'm concerned. You know?
Yeah.
I think the only reason I want to bring this up is because I think whenever the Libertarian Party makes moves like this, right, they're splitting up. I keep saying polarizing today. They keep polarizing a group of people who aren't really already stuck together, you know, like it's just making it harder for people to look to the Libertarian Party and say, like, this is something we should be a part of, even if you're libertarian-minded, right? Yeah. Because a lot of libertarians and anarchists already don't want anything to do with the LPA or the, you know, the Libertarian Party.
Probably most of them. Yeah. Like people like Roger and Daryl and I would say ourselves are few and far between. And I mean, hey, that's fine. I understand it. I understand it completely.
Yeah.
And I love those guys. I mean, those are some of my favorite libertarians. You know, people that I really, really look up to.
I just think it's a bad move, man. I think you're like people look up to Tom Woods. You know, people love Tom Woods and what he talks about. You know, and like he's probably a more popular libertarian than Nicholas Sarwark is. You know, and all you're doing is making it look like it's harder to be a member of the Libertarian Party, right?
Right.
I think it's a bad move, and I think they could do better.
That's
why I'm bringing it up.
Yeah, there is a lot of this I missed. The only thing I saw a meme between them where Thomas E. Woods wrecked the fuck out of old Nick. He he said something about, like, I can't remember. He insinuated that money that the LP, you know, that people paid in dues that eventually went to Nick was wasted. And Nick said, "I donate my time. I don't take any salary." And he said it's still too much. It was like, boom.
Yeah, I mean that, and to say like the Mises Institute, right, is the think tank of Nazis. Like Mises was a Jew, you know, like it.
Yeah, now that you mention it, Dave Smith talked about I think a Lou Rockwell speech where somebody was criticizing. He said something at some point that they said they didn't understand what he's saying. I don't know. Go listen to his show and you can figure that out.
Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. But what do you think? Are you on the same page or do you have any arguments to that? Because I just think it's like I'm trying to wake them up, man. You know, like come on.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm definitely.
I think all efforts between libertarians should be between trying to unite libertarians, right? For the LP, anyways. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that should be the effort, without compromising ideals. That's always, and we're peeking around, making sure everything's still working, and it is. That's always where my heart is going to be at. The principles are king, you know.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you do have to have people involved in what you're doing to make it anywhere.
Yeah.
And that, to me, is the second most important thing. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm
I think a lot of people are very, especially people that are more party minded than philosophy minded. If it's as simple as dividing libertarianism up into those two things,
right?
Which to me, libertarianism is a philosophy way before it's a political party,
Right?
Right. I don't know what I'm saying.
But that's why you're an anarchist. You know, that's why you're not
right
rocking Libertarian Party T-shirts. You know.
I have a Libertarian Party T-shirt.
Yeah, but
I have an LPA T-shirt.
How many anarchist T-shirts do you have? Way more, right?
I have I guess I have a few. I still wear that shirt. It's really good, comfortable.
You know what I mean.
I think you have the same shirt, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Dope.
Yeah.
All right, so let's continue on. We've wasted a shitload of time on a bunch of stupid garbage, and we want to get to, if anybody's still listening or watching on the YouTube channel, what we want to do is we want to talk about the basic foundations of libertarian philosophy, at least as I see them. So this, I'm sure it's going to be pretty well in line if you've seen stuff like this before. So people that are deep into libertarian philosophy, I do apologize that this may be simplistic, but go ahead and listen and let me know if I missed anything or really screwed anything up. A lot of this we're just going to be spitballing. I don't know how good of a job I'm going to do at this because I am, still a pretty young libertarian, a couple of years into this whole crazy thing. I think I'm a pretty smart guy, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I didn't want to get an article like Libertarianism 101 from the Advocates for Self-Government, which
Right.
I think that actually is an article, and I think it's probably a pretty good article. I've definitely read it before. I just can't remember. But most stuff they put out is. I want to do something a little bit more from the heart. I do have some notes, but I just want to... I think a good place to start is probably going to be the NAP, right?
Yeah.
That to me is the key principle, is the non-aggression principle. That's kind of where everything else. If you're not sure about like an ethics question, you have some sort of ethical dilemma, and you're thinking about libertarian things, like if you look at the NAP, you're gonna get pretty close.
Right.
Like I've said this before, libertarians kind of spend a lot of their time talking about these strange 1% situations, like oh well, in an anarcho-capitalist society, if somebody sneezes in the direction of a blade of glass on your lawn, then you can shoot them, and ethically that's just fine. It's like, no, there's this thing called like proportionality that most of us recognize, and it's not this like deontological thing where, oh, we found a loophole, it's still ethical.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't understand this stuff well enough.
I see those same things. I see these terrible straw man arguments that are like, well, I can shoot my neighbor's starving kid because he wandered onto my lawn while trying to get away from it, like, in an anarcho-capitalist society. Like, no, that's ridiculous. Like, this idea is so based in human rights. You think that's gonna, you think things
I don't know that that's a straw man though, because I mean there is a point to that, right? Like if you go, well, from what you're saying, like this guy did violate his NAP and he has the right to self-defense. It's like, okay, yeah, you did point out kind of a little bit of a flaw, but we can still be good people. Like in general, like you don't still just get to be a piece of shit necessarily. Like we do recognize proportionality, right?
People think that you remove the government from the situation and morals go out of the situation, right? Like they think like my morals are only consistent with the government.
Yeah.
Like if the government's there, I'll be moral. If the government's not there, I'll be immoral. That's
and
ridiculous.
you might have these 1 in 1,000 people that are just really genuinely bad people that you have to do something about.
But you don't make rules for the exception, right? The outliers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The vast majority of people do not want to go be violent against other people, and the vast majority of people in their everyday dealings, you've probably heard this point before, like, we're anarchists the majority of the time. It's just like 1% of the time we deal with the government and we do shit we don't want to do. Yeah, except for like taxes. That's a pretty fucking constant thing.
Yeah.
Every time you go to buy Coke Zero or whatever it is,
right?
Your beverage of choice.
So the non-aggression principle. Let's
the non-aggression
stay on
principle
before we get way too off.
Yeah.
What is it by definition?
Oh well. You're just assuming I have a definition pulled up here, or like I can just pull one out of my ass, like I'm fucking some really smart guy here.
You do have it pulled up, don't you?
I have something.
Yeah,
I have from Mises.org, the non-aggression principle, also called the non-aggression axiom, or the anti-coercion or zero aggression principle, or non-initiation of force. A lot of different things. Everybody just calls it the NAP. Is an ethical stance which asserts that aggression is inherently illegitimate. Aggression is defined as the initiation of physical force against persons or property, the threat of such or fraud upon persons or their property. In contrast to pacifism, the non-aggression principle does not preclude violent self-defense. The principle is a deontological or rule-based ethical stance. And why don't you, will you pull up deontological definition? I need a refresher of that because this has like
deontological
rule-based. Oh, if you can just tell me.
I mean, by a strict definition, no, but it's like an objective
right.
morality,
This just
right?
says like or rule-based. And I guess like the 10 Commandments, like that's a deontological thing.
It's like a black and white objective.
Right.
You know, the study of nature and duty and obligation is deontology.
All right.
That wasn't incredibly helpful, but whatever.
No, I think it's fine. Anyways, we're going down a rabbit hole that really doesn't matter.
Right.
But a good point here is yes, like the NAP isn't just you. There's constant non-aggression against everybody. Yeah, if somebody does violate your NAP, you should proportionally and like pretty strictly within those proportions. I think like it's not just like, oh, this guy's in my lawn, or like I see this guy breaking. I don't know. The way the laws are set up, at least here, like if somebody's like breaking into your car, you can't like snipe them out from your window.
Right.
To where I don't know. I'm almost like, well, fuck, dude, that guy's in my car.
Yeah. But
I also like I really don't want to take a human life if I'm not in danger, and you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose my shit either.
Right. I mean, but if you're in your living room and someone's kicking in your front door, you can shoot them, right? You can blow them away at that point. As far as
that point, you're absolutely in danger.
Right.
And you know, I actually Roger was talking about, it was either I listened today to the newest Resist the Empire, hashtag Resist the Empire podcast. Go check that shit out. And I also listened to the newest Lava Flow. So I don't remember today being Monday the 21st. I don't remember which one it was he was talking about this on. And I also just lost my train of thought. I don't even remember what I was saying, so it doesn't matter.
We were talking about proportionality and self-defense, right?
Oh yeah. Well, thank you, Adam. That pulled it right back. So, yeah, he was talking about exactly the same thing we're talking about. Like he was saying, like, as a even though he's a libertarian, like if he ever had to pull the trigger and take somebody's life, he is not looking forward to that. Like he said, like, that would ruin me for the rest of my life. I would think about that every day.
I don't know that I could do it. I honestly, if someone's breaking into my house,
I mean that's a legitimate thing. I absolutely would. I would because I don't
also have a daughter.
I have an almost like an under 3 years old toddler child, basically a big baby that walks around and talks and stuff. And I have a wife, and I won't let anything happen to them. I will feel really, really bad about killing somebody. I really will. I don't, and I like.
But
even,
you would feel much worse if something was to happen to them because you're
absolutely.
lack of defending them.
Like
right?
I kind of almost understand. You know, like it's like, you know what, man. This might be like an 18-year-old kid or something. Maybe I'll fucking fight him. Yeah. Maybe I'll see if I can, shoot him in the leg or some of that dumb shit.
Don't risk it though, man. That's,
I'm saying if you're like a bachelor or something, obviously I don't think anybody should do that. I think you should defend yourself.
Right.
But you kind of understand where we're coming from. Yeah. We're not inherently violent people. We're inherently anti-violent people.
That's what makes us libertarians.
Yeah. I'm just saying at the end of the day, we're not pacifists. We're not going to let people beat us up if we don't want to.
Yeah,
we are going to defend ourselves.
Yeah. And that's the other problem with making a law about it, right? Is then you end up with like this blanket law for everyone, right? When every situation is not the same. And that's something another thing that libertarians stress is individualism, right? Like your situation is different than mine. If someone broke into your house, I would want you to shoot them, right? I don't want anything to happen to my family, If someone broke into my house, I don't know they would. I own a gun, and you know what? Like I'd be like, man. Like part of me would be thinking, like, man, this guy's going through a troubled time. He's fucked up. He's making a bad move. Is that worth his life? I don't know. Fuck it. Like, there's nothing in my house that important, dude. Just fucking take it. Like just the same thing if I got mugged. Like, I'm not gonna. Right. I'm gonna be like, here's my wallet, dude. I don't want, I don't want trouble. Yeah. And I'd be like, I hope that guy gets fucking better. I hope he's,
Yeah.
But that's my situation is different than yours, you know.
Right. Totally.
I'm not worried about protecting my dog, you know. That's all I get. You know?
Yeah, fuck that fat sausage piece of shit.
Yeah, dude.
You have a fat dog.
It's super fat, dude.
But yeah, I think this is turned out to be a pretty good explanation of the non-aggression principle. At least how we view it. You know, we're not looking for an excuse to beat the shit out of little kids or something.
Also, it plays a part into the Libertarian Party, like Larry Sharp has said. I really love what he said. It's the Northern Star, right? It's what guides the Libertarian Party, and it needs to continue to do so. I
agree. I think I see. Is it reason where this stuff comes from? I don't know, man. I see these like 6 reasons you should, as a libertarian, you should reject the non-aggression principle. I don't even know what the fuck that means.
No,
I don't know what these folks are talking about.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
And maybe it's because I'm not a lofty intellectual, but I
doubt if you're
then
seeing
what then go be a Republican. Go be like an anti-war weed smoking Republican, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't be so divisive. It's not like anybody's going to take my advice on that. But you know what? The guy who is most famous and when I interviewed Larry Sharp, I think I said like that Austin Peterson said like we should reject the NAP. And he's like, I don't think he said that. I think he just this and that. No, he did say like the NAP is childish and silly and we should abandon it. Something to that effect.
I wonder why. I'd like to hear him explain why.
I don't give a fuck.
I don't know how you can be a libertarian and not.
He's not. He left. He's gone.
Oh, okay.
He's in the Republican Party now.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that explains that.
He left the Libertarian Party. That was the whole thing.
Okay.
Catch the fuck up, Adam.
My bad.
Adam, you're now in charge of news. Go. But let's see here. So a really simplistic way of explaining the NAP, and I really like this, is don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. And I would add, don't commit fraud.
That's the most, and that's just a complicated way to take someone's stuff, you know.
Right. Yeah. Slavery with more steps. I don't know. What are some good like examples of NAP violations? Like, well, I mean, I guess those are the simple ones, but like specific example, like somebody robs you, somebody comes onto your property without permission. And I think that's a good one kind of to jump into.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of things like, okay, like if somebody's going around putting cards like on your front door in your mailbox.
Is that a crime, you know?
It's almost like, well, yeah, he is violating my property without my consent. It's literally raping me right now. But it's like, okay, well, as a human, we all kind of accept that. Like, yeah, walk up to my front door, knock on the door, or leave something like try to contact me.
Right.
If I come out and I make it known that I'm a grumpy old bastard and I don't want you there, then politely leave, right?
Right.
We all have that leniency with each other.
And that goes back into proportionality, right? Like someone walks onto your property, like clearly wanting to give you something, right? Deliver a package or whatever, you know? Like it's not the same as him kicking in your front door.
Right. I had a guy, and I remember as clear as day, the December the oh wait, no, never mind. This okay, so my daughter's birthday is December the 3rd, 2014. I do know that. But it was the first day we came home from the hospital. I'm sitting on the couch. Erica's sitting on the couch. Elsie is in one of those little, I don't know how to explain it, little thing that you put little bitty, itty bitty infants in, like newborns. But she's sitting there, and then I like hear somebody yelling, and I see somebody walk past my fucking, like the side window in my living room. I'm like, oh. I walk out in the front yard, and somebody's crossed through my backyard and went by, and he's like walking out into the street from my backyard. I'm like, what the fuck are you, like, big motherfucker? I had my pistol and shit. I was like, I wasn't like pointing it at him, like I had it on me.
Yeah.
I didn't pull it out. Nothing. I was just like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? You need to get the fuck off my property. And then he turned around and he was like obviously like angry at me. He's continuing to walk away, not doing anything crazy, not turning around like he's gonna fight me, but like he kind of. I don't know, he was trying to talk. Like, it was obvious to me that he was fucked up on drugs or something, or he had some sort of issue that he didn't know was going on. It's like...
He was, for some reason, taking a stroll through your
yard. You didn't steal anything. There's nothing in my yard missing. Like, okay, just go on. Just please don't fucking do that again. That makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's... I didn't get any recourse from him. I don't really feel like there were a whole lot of damages, you know. Maybe 2 minutes of my time, but...
Yeah.
you can have it, bud. Whatever.
Yeah, but that's the way normal people act, you know.
Right.
They're
That's something that probably a lot of libertarians may need to hear this, don't you think? I mean, that at the end of the day, we focus so much on economic transactions, you know, that we can lose some of the humanity.
Right.
That you know, maybe that's something that care harm thing that the left is so good at that we need to pay a little bit more attention to. Let's fucking love each other.
Yeah.
Let's be really, really lenient with each other. Let's forgive each other. And at the end of the day, if like especially like something I learned going up to New Hampshire and stuff, is people are like that, and especially if you know, like, okay, we have something's going to go sour and some sort of we have a disagreement, a bad business transaction, like you automatically know, like, we're not going to be violent for each other. We're going to figure it out because it's really important to us.
Right.
We really believe in this, and at the end of the day, even if we don't love each other, like, we believe in freedom, we believe in liberty, and that's what it takes for it to work.
We're both still humans. We're
Right.
both still just trying to figure our way through all this, you know.
And so some of the things, I don't know, I guess, like, there's almost this thing with libertarianism. It's like people have to be, well, they don't have to be, because there's ways of dealing with bad people. But it's almost like, okay, yeah, people have to be good. A lot of people have to be, and a lot of people are good in general, right? But morality and ethics are progressing. Like, they're changing so much.
Yeah.
Even the Republicans don't like racists now, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, my experience in North Alabama, I'm a fucking redneck, has been like, I don't think I've seen any, even people that may be a little bit racist, you know, if you get them away from online and talk to them.
Yeah.
They may see some stupid shit that's like, oh, come on, guy.
Right.
You're fucking, it just because you and me are white doesn't mean you can
Right. I mean,
do that. But
we
like,
live in the heart of the South, you
right.
know, like the deep
I
South.
haven't, nobody.
There's no clan rallies,
Nobody has been like, yeah, those are some good white nationalists. Like go get them. Like, the only thing you see is people going, that's my heritage. That's my heritage. They're tearing down my statues.
Right.
Like, I haven't heard any, like it wasn't about slavery. It's my heritage. It was about taxes. And it's like, well, okay, at least you're saying, like, yeah, I'm not a racist.
about race,
I'm
it's
just stupid, you know, or whatever.
No, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, so it's progressing, and it's going to continue to progress, and I hope it progresses towards anti-violence and anti-coercion.
All I see is, you know, at least online anyways, I see people saying fucking punch Nazis and fight everyone who disagrees with you, or I think both sides are bad.
Yeah.
That's the only two sides I see. There's like the middle ground, and then the people who are wanting to fight like this non-existent supporting group.
You
of the
see,
right, you know,
we see a lot of both sides are bad because we have a lot of libertarians in our feed.
maybe that's it.
Yeah. I imagine most people just see a lot of Nazis are bad, but and that's fine. Whatever. Let's move on. Self-ownership. Adam, do you have the definition pulled up for self-ownership?
I do not.
Fucked you up, didn't I?
I mean, I thought you had it, dude. My bad.
No, I actually don't have anything. We're going to spitball this. Self-ownership is... Oh, you're looking it up?
Yeah.
I was just trying to...
I have this nifty computer in front of me for the first time.
I wasn't even asking you to do it. I was just trying to humiliate you in front of everybody. That's so funny. But I do appreciate that.
So self-ownership, or sovereignty of the individual sovereignty or individual autonomy, is a concept of property in one's own person expressed as a moral or natural right of a person to have both integrity and be the exclusive controller of his own body and life.
Right.
Yep, that sounds like you own yourself, right?
Yeah,
So
and all this stuff... I'm sorry, go ahead. This stuff all just kind of plays into each other.
So that's, you know, that's the idea that we can, as long as we're not harming, it kind of goes into the nap. As long as we're not harming anyone, what we own our bodies and what we do is
Our
not
decision.
immoral, right?
Yeah.
I can put whatever drugs I want in my body.
I guess that's the place to go right there. Is you do what you want with yourself if you're not hurting other people. So, but yeah, that's the big thing. And even whatever, if you want to go fucking smoke meth.
Right. I'm not going to tell you not to.
I'm not going to tell you not to. Just don't blow it in my face.
I
and
might
don't,
tell you it's a
don't
bad
rob me.
idea and you shouldn't, but I'm not going to stop you. Right. That's
yeah.
what
Okay.
I'm
Let's say this. Yeah. I'm not going to intervene. I'm not going to put you in a cage.
Right.
And destroy your property over it. Right.
Right.
And that's at the end of the day. And since we're doing libertarian principles, look, this is how I look at everything. the problem with this world right now is everybody says there ought to be a law. Everybody wants to legislate morality. Everybody goes, that's bad. The police should stop it. There should be a law, because if there was a law, people wouldn't do it. That's unfortunately, well, a value pluralism. People disagree about things. That's a problem.
Right.
But people don't stop things because there's a law. So at the end of the day, what you're actually saying, because all right, so let's take an example. I think Adam shouldn't smoke pot. Pot is bad. Cannabis is bad. I make a law. I decriminalize cannabis. Oh, I'm sorry. I make a law. I criminalize cannabis. Let's get our facts straight here. And he refuses to obey the law, and he smokes a joint out on his front porch. I call the cops on him. The cops show up, say, "Hey, you're breaking the law. I have to take you, and I have to take you to prison. Or to jail. I have to put you in a cage, and it may be a fine, whatever. It doesn't matter." And then you say, "No, I own myself. I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't want to go with you." Or no, I'm sorry. Let's add another step. He says it's going to be a fine. Say I'm not going to pay the fine. Okay, you're not going to pay the fine. I can't just let you not pay the fine. Like I have to enforce this law. It's my job. I'm going to put you in a cage. I'm not going with you. Sir, you're coming with me. I'm not going with you. Then it's a fight. I'm not fucking going with you. I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to pull my gun. Cop kills you. That's what that means when you say there ought to be a law. You're saying that if you break this law, that is a death sentence.
You're threatening people's lives with some blanket morality that you believe, right? Something that you believe everyone should do, whether or not, and that's crazy because people don't, like, we've talked about ethics, right, and morals, whether or not they're subjective or objective or whatever, but no matter what they are, not everyone's on the same page.
Right.
And so I don't think it's moral to by my objective morals, I don't think it's moral to force someone to do something they don't want, right? Whether or not, it's changed their ethics or whatever, right? That to me, but that's because I'm,
And so at the end of the day, we have to be really lenient with each other. If you're not hurting me, you should do what you want. You have to have a way to deal with the really bad parts of society, as in rape and murder and theft, right?
Right.
You have to have a way to deal with this. But this whole let's just make a law and it'll stop. That's
there's no reason to believe that's
morally bankrupt because you are giving those people that are breaking that law a death sentence. And you go, well, we made the law and they broke the law.
Right.
But this is real life. You don't just get to say that. There are consequences for your actions. So at the end of the day, and this, like I said, this is probably the most important thing that we're going to talk about is this right here. At the end of the day, if you're not sure about something, what you need to say is, am I going to go personally myself, break down their door and put them in a cage or kill them for it? If the answer is no, then no, there doesn't need to be a law.
Exactly.
That's simple.
And I've used that argument.
That's libertarianism, baby.
With success with people, saying like, I was talking with someone, she was very level-headed, and she says like, sure, you should be able to own guns, right? She's like, but there's got to be a limit, right? You can't just own anything, And I'm like, well, I mean, you're trying
there is a limit.
Like, I mean, I'm not going to stop someone from owning any gun.
There's scarce resources,
right? But she's saying like,
I know. I'm just being a dickhead,
right? And I told her the same thing. I said, well, like, are you gonna break down their door and put them in jail for it? And she's like, well, no, because I was like, because they haven't done anything wrong by owning it, right? Like, you can't. You can take a killing machine, right? Something that's going to wipe out 100 people, but unless they've done something, they haven't committed a crime, right? And it's not a crime to own it. It shouldn't be a crime to own it. We just came to that agreement, Right. I was like, are you willing to kick down their door and put them in a cage for it? She's like, well, no, because I don't want to commit someone for a thought crime. I'm like, then why are you allowing someone else to do it? Why you're turning a blind eye to it? You're saying it's okay for someone else to do it because I don't want to do it,
Exactly.
And that's... And it worked, right? You see the missteps in the logic.
It's really hard to argue that. You just go like, well, yeah, that makes sense, but it's really easier if the government gives us healthcare and roads and education.
Yeah, it's easier, but
or you go like
worse for everyone.
Yeah, you go like, well, there's a free rider problem with defense, and that's a whole other thing. Yeah. Whatever. I think we did pretty good with self-ownership. Let's jump on over to property rights.
Property rights.
I actually have some notes on this. I have a little bit of stuff.
Okay, cool.
And you can't talk about property rights without talking about John Locke, because that's where a lot of this stuff comes
It's kind
from.
of the
right?
OG, yeah.
The labor theory of property, also called the labor theory of appropriation, labor theory of ownership, labor theory of entitlement, or principle of first appropriation, is a theory of natural law that holds that property originally comes about by the exertion of labor upon natural resources. The theory has been used to justify the homestead principle, which holds that one may gain whole permanent ownership of an unowned natural resource by performing an act of original appropriation. Let's see here. That's funny. I actually have that doubled up because then it goes into stuff about the homestead principle. I'm not going to read it twice. Appropriation could be enacted by putting an unowned resource to active... Appropriation could be enacted by putting an unowned resource to active use, as with using it to produce a product, joining it with previously acquired property, or by marking it as owned, as with livestock branding. Proponents of intellectual property hold that ideas can also be homesteaded by originally creating a virtual or tangible representation of them. Others, however, argue that since tangible manifestations of a single idea will be present in many places, including within the minds of people, this precludes their being owned in most or all cases. I personally agree with that. Come to your own conclusions. Homesteading is one of the foundations of Rothbardian anarcho-capitalism, and specifically, I agree that I think IP is a dumb idea. I don't think you can own an idea between somebody else's ears.
Right.
I think, well, it's like can or can you? We kind of decide all that shit. I mean, it's just, it doesn't make sense. I mean, because if I take an idea from you, you still have that idea. You didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
It's something that can be infinitely copied. So
You're not stealing anything.
right. So moving on here, the Lockean proviso, and this is something that I wasn't really strong on, and I'm not great on any of this stuff. But this was pretty interesting. The Lockean proviso is a feature of John Locke's labor theory of property, which states that whilst individuals have a right to homestead private property from nature by working on it, they can do so only at least where there is enough and as good left in common for others. And the example is I would say, like, if you go to a continent and you're one person and you put a flag like on the beach, you say, this is my whole continent, nobody else can come here. It's like, you're really going to stop everybody that tries with violence? Like, that's unreasonable. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I understand. But at that point, like, it's the same thing as like with proportionality. Like, you have to be kind of reasonable about it.
I think you're right.
Can I have a little bit of your water, Adam?
Yeah,
I drank all
course.
mine. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think you're right, but I think that's a terrible argument to even make, right? Like what if someone finds a whole continent and sticks a flag in it? Like, that's not going to happen, so I'm not super stressed about that, you know, like...
Yeah, but okay, in an anarcho-capitalist society, let's say like something like land blocking, or like you put a fence around like this unappropriated land, like this really big area that is unreasonable. Like, you're not going to use like hardly any of it. You're just doing it like to be malicious to somebody else or something. Then, like, I don't know. I understand why the majority of people wouldn't recognize that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Like,
yeah.
you gotta, like, if you own all the land around somebody else's land, you gotta let them through somewhere,
right?
You know,
and that's sort of an aggression, though.
I think so.
No, I see that too. Like, I'm not gonna buy, you know, a donut shaped area around someone's house and tell them they can't leave. You know, like that. That to me seems like
I'm
aggression.
saying when somebody does that. Everybody has to be like, look, dude, you got to let the fucking guy through.
Right.
Like, that's not working for him. It's not working for us.
Yeah.
Just be a fucking good guy. Be reasonable about it.
So this is something, because I'm still learning a lot about anarcho-capitalism too. You know, I don't know if I'm an Ancap, but I love anarcho-capitalist ideas. You know, I spend a lot of time talking about it. How does it work with abandoned properties, right? So you find an abandoned property. Right. And how long does it have to be abandoned for it's morally okay for someone to homestead?
That's a really good question. Yeah. I don't know. I guess everybody, it's like, okay, this lady died in her house. It's been a couple of years. None of her kids have come for it. So then everybody's like, okay, well, John, his house really, he sleeps in a tent, and he wants to go like fix the place up. He's gonna mix his labor with it.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's like disputing that. Nobody's saying, "Oh, that guy's a squatter," because nobody knows who this people. Nobody knows anybody's family. Then
I get that you can.
Well, hold
okay,
on.
Go ahead.
Hold on. Then here's where it gets problematic, and I'll point out the problems as I see them. I don't care. And then a couple of years later, one of the kids shows up and says, "Hey, what are you doing? This is my house. I've sold this to somebody. Like, what do you do in that situation?"
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is, and it may not even work out that great, is like you have to go to arbitration and say, hey, you have to have an objective third party
that
kind of decide something, like, hey, what do we do? And you have to beforehand, you have to pick an arbitration service, just assuming this is the way this works out, right?
Yeah.
You have to pick one beforehand, and you have to both agree beforehand to agree to the outcome, or whatever. So if the outcome is, if the outcome is, look, hey guys, this is a fucked up situation. Like this dude's like, it's not just like the guy's moved in. Like this guy's like put a couple of grand. He's put 20 grand into the house. Like he's really worked on. I don't know how a guy that lives in a tent has 20 grand, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Or he's put however a couple of Bitcoin into this house, or Bitcoin,
or he's
Cash
mixed his own labor into it. Like
whatever it is. Here's what we're gonna do. Y'all can either both live in the house, or you can sell it and you can split the money.
Right.
That's fucked up for both of y'all. That sucks, but that is the only reasonable thing. Yeah. And I'm not an arbitrator. I'm not a philosopher. That's off the top of my head. Yeah. It would be a lot more nuanced.
No, it totally makes sense though. Like, because I was thinking, like someone dies, place is abandoned or whatever. How quickly is it morally okay? Like, say someone does it right then, right? Like, they're like, oh, cool, free fucking house. I move into my neighbor's house right after they die. You know what I mean? Like, obviously that's not going to stand up to any arbitration, right? If the person, if the fucking kids come, 2 days later or whatever and says like, hey man, give me my fucking house, it's mine, like, or whatever. And obviously no one is going to stand up for the guy who just moved in. So that makes a little bit of sense. But, how long do you wait for it's morally acceptable? I don't know.
Right. I mean, it's...
That's
you had to make the decision what is and is not reasonable.
Yeah.
And there always will be people that will try to take advantage of situations for gains. I mean, that's part of freedom, and you have to deal with that. And there may be a lot of stuff you just have to let go.
Yeah.
Now, of course, like your fucking dead mom's house, you can't just let that go.
Right.
Unless you're fucking really rich and you're like, whatever. He's doing something nice with it.
Yeah. Whatever. That's a rabbit hole, so it's okay.
No, I agree, but I think we're doing a pretty good job of talking about like where some of the problems may be, and how you take care of them. I don't know. So the next, and these are what I am calling the foundations of libertarianism, or the foundations of voluntarism, or anarcho-capitalism, or whatever. Not that all those things are strictly the same definition, but to me they are, because I'm not very smart and I don't like differentiating things.
Yeah.
Free market economics. As libertarians, we generally believe the freer the market, the freer the world, right? That's the fucking the banner thing. Right.
The freer the world, the freer the people, the freer the trading, everything.
Right.
All the way across the board.
Yeah. And that goes back into, like, we believe you can own yourself and you can own your property.
Right.
And then trade and voluntary association, everything comes out of that.
Right.
And this is where collectivism is lost on me. This idea that you can have a small amount of people direct the flow of resources to where, like I understand, like, the idea of if we take all the money in the world and we divide, everybody will have $1 million or whatever it is. And I think it's actually lower than that. The last time I heard somebody said that, I don't know. Like, I understand how romantic that is, but it can never work.
No.
Anytime you give even if those people only do it for 2 weeks and then it's a new guy, or whatever, like the anarcho-syndicalist, which my explanation of anarcho-syndicalism came from about like a 14-second bit in what was it?
I don't know.
The king. Oh shit!
Don't point at me.
King Arthur and the Holy Grail and the quest. King Arthur and the quest for the Holy Grail. Monty Python.
Okay, I haven't watched that.
What?
I know. How many times have we said that on the show?
I thought of another one that you haven't. I added it to a wish list on Amazon. I don't know. We'll look at it later.
Yeah, whatever. But the idea that like that I can create something and someone else is going to have a claim to that whatever I built seems very illogical to me, right? I'm
Right.
sure for some reason for some people that seems logical, right?
Yeah.
I would imagine most of those people are unemployed.
Well, most people don't think about it that way. Most people think this guy needs something, he should have it, or this guy has the ability to produce something, he should produce it.
That is more of it, right?
It just doesn't. The math doesn't work out because
Right.
in that system, people aren't incentivized to do anything.
But the people who always say that the people who build homes should be building homes for homeless people free
Right.
of charge or whatever because we're all humans and blah blah blah. That's a nice, pretty thought. But the people who always say that aren't the people who build homes. They're not the ones trying to provide that service. They're trying to redistribute someone else's
Right.
service or good. So that's a hang up for me. It seems.
I think I didn't get this point in real fast. What I was saying was, anytime you put not anytime, maybe you have somebody that is just an altruism machine.
Yeah.
Right. But if you have a system where there are people that are put in power and authority over other people and they decide where the stuff goes, that is going to incentivize people with bad intentions to try and get in that position.
Gain power, right? Yeah.
And for anybody that's following along, that's kind of the situation we're dealing with representative democracy, right?
Right.
It's not really even, I think we determined it wasn't even possible to represent your constituency because they all kind of believe different shit. Like you can try, but really the incentive is to get in there and somehow benefit yourself, right?
Right.
So, and you know what? Maybe we're not doing free market economics justice because I mean, you could do a whole podcast, for the rest of our lives on that.
But the wonderful thing, if again, about free market economics is it's truly the will of the people, right? Like it's the only way that the majority wins, really. Otherwise, you see, when people tamper with it or whatever, whenever you try and break some windows,
the individual wins, right?
Yeah, not. Well, what we want is the individual to win, right? We want everyone to get what they want, right? And if there's not people who want it, there's going to be a market for it, right? So, and if you want it, there's a small market for it, right? It's really just, it's the invisible hand. It's the actual flow of what people want. It's, true freedom, right? It's the only thing that really represents the want of the people.
Exactly.
More so than anything else. So not only, that's why it's good on a moral standpoint, right? Like why it's good ethically, but there's actual statistics to say that it works better, and is more, it's more profitable than the alternative.
When you say statistics, I don't know specifically
Maybe
what
not
you mean.
But there's evidence.
There's theory and there's logic, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not that much history. There are. Well, okay, I know you roll your eyes for very good reasons because there are huge parts of it.
Yeah.
Throughout the last 1,000 years. Or probably even more than that, that work so fucking well, even if there are other problems, and the other economic people will come in and say, well, this is what happened, blah blah blah. That's the nature of economics,
right? But I think you can look at it from a whole and see that there's evidence that free market is always better.
Yeah, I can. I think so.
I think.
I mean, we had an experiment in pretty much just about a free market and everything, until some around the turn of the 20th century.
Yeah.
So and then I don't know. I just to me it's so obvious.
Yeah.
And it just goes back to the not legislating morality. If two people, and I guess maybe this is the base thing for free market economics. If two people both value what the other person has more than what they have, they both benefit.
Right.
That's a mutual transaction. If they at least perceive that that's the case, right?
Yeah.
So or if they don't, then they don't do it. And the whole idea behind the free market is when somebody else steps in and says you can or cannot do this and that, like gets in the middle of that transaction. And of course, I'm not talking about selling, people as slaves or anything.
Right.
At that point, that's a whole nother thing. But if you're not, hurting or stealing from somebody, then nobody else should be involved in what you're doing.
Right. And that's the basis of voluntarism, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
The voluntary interaction should go completely,
right.
Unmessed with by a third party.
Yeah. Yeah. And our position is that if that is the case, people will benefit.
Right.
But there will be problems. There will be there will be some new problems likely. I think as an overall thing, people will benefit more than they are now. But also, like the thing that people in general don't realize with all of this stuff is like, oh, that's really scary, and they kind of assume that everything's working right now.
Yeah.
They kind of assume that there aren't problems right now, and there are, and they're really big problems. You just don't
People turn
see
a blind
them.
eye to them, right?
Yeah, I know. We're being really vague.
But people think there's no problems right now. Like oh, we've got it is better than we've ever had it, right?
Right.
Which is probably pretty true.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, we
standard of living is really high, but that doesn't mean that it's that doesn't mean we should just ignore
Stop
the fact
trying.
that doesn't mean we should ignore the fact that there are people in jail for growing plants, right?
right, exactly. Perfect example.
Yeah. There's still that doesn't mean stop. That doesn't mean don't improve.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing right there is like people, I was talking to somebody and then they used the word capitalism and then they used the word democracy right after it interchangeably, like it was talking about the US and its presence in the rest of the world. And they like it was exactly the same thing. I'm like, whoa, dude, back up. No. I don't know where I was going with that. What kind of point was I about to make?
I'm not in your head.
People don't think.
Sometimes I'm in your head and I can help you out.
Yeah, I know. People don't think about this stuff like we do. But yeah, our position: the freer the market, the freer the world. In a good place, probably for all this stuff is Mises.org, but especially economic stuff. Those are the guys. Go to YouTube, look up, and I would say something outside of the Austrian circle. David Friedman, go listen to all his lectures on YouTube. They're really great. Tom Woods and Bob Murphy. Those in my eyes, at least with the Austrian stuff, those are the juggernauts.
Right.
Go listen to them, and they'll be able to tell you far better than us. But so my last foundation is the position of being anti-war or non-interventionist is probably a better word. So as libertarians, our position is that, like, if not all, the majority of the wars that we've been involved with in the past have been wars of, I definitely can't say all, but if you talk about the past century, maybe,
right,
have been wars of choice, right? And you can, with both like the first two world wars, you can argue about those, and I mean, there's not much point in doing that here because I'm not a history guy. I'm not strong on history, and at the end of the day, I'm more a little bit more focused in on current stuff, right? But yeah, that's the libertarian position. Is especially I don't know. I think people with this whole Islam thing, like, this is one of the things that the left, I think, kind of gets and then overshoots. Like, is that the majority of these people are like doctors and shit. They're from like even like a lot of like Asian countries and stuff.
Yeah.
Like Indonesia and stuff like that. Like the majority of the Muslim people over here are people that are probably more intelligent than me, are like really contributing to society. Like people that we really, really want here.
Right.
And
but there's a reason they're here and not like the average, right?
Right.
Like Arabic or Indian person, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Which you see a lot of like Indian doctors and Indian mathematicians and things like that. But there's a reason the smarter ones are here.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen on accident.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not to say that there isn't a big problem with radical Islam.
Right.
There is. And there's just a lot of stuff, like I've said before, at least you and me have talked about, with why don't the moderates or the nonviolent Muslims call out they never call out radical Islam because they're secretly rooting them on.
Right.
It's like, no, just go to the internet and look for that. You've never done that before. You will find it. I promise you. I've seen it. They do it all the time. And this point is really irrelevant, but we're gonna get back to it. Where I said the left kind of overshoots it, like where women are like what was it, that march where they were all putting on hijabs and stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, this is like supposed to be a pro like women's liberation thing. That's
but
like,
you're really just glorifying, sexism or whatever.
Right.
You're glorifying discrimination. That's
Yeah.
really weird.
And honestly, like even in a way, like probably being really disrespectful to
that culture,
like
Yeah.
I think this is one of the things that McInnes did. Gavin McInnes did a thing about like you just got tricked.
Yeah.
Like you
It
just
sounds
got
like-
duped
Yeah.
by Islam, right?
Right.
Whatever. At the end of the day, libertarians, for anybody that may be listening and be really lost on what we're talking about with this anti-war stuff, libertarians are focused in on individuality.
Right. There's nothing more
yeah.
important than the individual.
If every other Muslim in the world, which they're not, if every other Muslim in the world is like an inherently violent, evil person, I can't go kill Will Coley.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's a non-violent voluntarist, a really good guy.
Yeah.
So that's how we judge people. And like, yeah, and at the end of the day, I'm not a Muslim. I'm an atheist. I'm not a Christian either. I can go into like why I think religion is bad, but that has nothing to do with the foundations of libertarianism. I think the more important message is like us going over there and killing a lot of innocent people along with bad people.
Right.
Is not fruitful. Like we've been fighting this war on terrorism. This enemy that is just very vague.
It's a word that's along the same lines of like the war on drugs, right?
Right.
It's a vague thing that we're just trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah, when at the end of the day, like everything is a drug. Like your whole body, like even if you don't put anything from the outside in, like your whole body is made of drugs.
Yeah.
Sorry, guy, it's all chemical reactions. You're doing drugs.
Yeah, it's
Can't get out of
it's
it.
insane. I don't know.
But yeah, at the end of the day, like now, if somebody attacks us first, it's almost like, yeah, there should be some sort of proportionality. And if we were talking about like libertarianism as a whole, if we're talking about like the Libertarian Party, it's a very big party. People believe anything on this specific issue from anything from like there should be no military to we should be fighting the war over there. Most aren't saying that, but there are people who are right.
I find that the whole like self-defense thing not super applicable to to a country as a whole, right? Like we were attacked in 9/11. Should we have defended ourselves, right? Should we have gone over there and done something about it, right? I don't know that you should, man, because it's a weird thing. It's something I've taken back and forth. I'm not 100% sure about.
Right.
It's something I've just been, rattling around. I mean, we are Americans, yes, but I think we're humans first, right? Like I'm an individual, and then I'm an American, right? So if someone, attacks our country, I don't really want a part of even fighting them back, right? Like that seems weird to me. Like they didn't do anything to me. That's that person's fight, not my fight, right?
Right.
And I can certainly stand up for one or the other, and I can choose to help one or the other, if I believe someone's had their rights completely violated or whatever, but don't loop me in with the country, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, that works perfectly into what I think is a really, really important point. That being like, okay, like just from an economic perspective, like all this stuff we're doing, and you know what? Let's look at this from the perspective of like globally, like every country in the world. If the way they fought wars was instead of stealing the money to fund it from the people and having them not really think about it, instead they had people donate money directly
to a war fund or whatever.
None of the like there would be very, very little fighting between countries. It would be trading.
Yeah.
It would be trading. It would be goods crossing instead of bombs crossing borders. That is. Because at the end of the day, people want that more than they want, And I understand, like you want revenge, like you want to go get Osama bin Laden. Like I'm not even gonna go and like start saying that like the government did 9/11. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about the official narrative that is really suspicious. And I mean, the likely thing is like Saudi Arabia was up to it, right?
Right.
And a lot of people like don't even know that, like and they're still our buddies right now. Like that's a good thing to understand. Those are our allies over there, and they're the ones that
we're almost sure they were the orchestrators of it, right?
And of course,
most likely,
we were fiddling around in the Middle East long before that. But that's
Right.
I think at least in your average NASCAR fan's mind, like that's what's going on. And that was a joke. I didn't mean to be offensive. But that wasn't like a poke at right. I was being cute.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think if we have to fund these things, maybe we'll get some money together and we'll go get Bin Laden and we'll fucking hang him or whatever if we really think he's the guy that did it or
I
whatever.
think that's immoral though.
Well, I'm not even getting that direct. I'm just saying like maybe some stuff like that, and I actually agree with you, especially if you're looking at some of the stuff we've talked about with determinism.
Exactly.
But even outside of that, like we're still there,
Right.
16 years later, we're still there doing stuff.
Which just highlights even more how extreme
Right.
it is, right? Like I think the idea of vengeance itself is sort of is
I don't
immoral,
even know how many countries we're at war with right now.
Who knows? We're in every country, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I say we're the U.S. government. I like I said, I don't want to be lumped in as
you
part of that.
Mouse pocketing motherfucker.
Yeah, but say. Well, let's pretend that the country is one entity, right? Like America is one entity, and the Middle East is one entity. We'll just say, or Saudi Arabia, whatever you want to say, right? And say we get attacked on 9/11, right? So let's say collectively their population has punched our population in the face, right?
Yeah.
Like at that point, like you have the right to defend yourself, but whenever you hit them back, like.
Yeah.
I don't even know if someone punched me in the face. I don't know that I'm going to hit them back, right? Like if someone breaks into my house and steals my things and leaves, I'm not going to follow them and shoot them, right? Like I'm out to defend myself while they're in my house.
Sure.
But I'm not going to follow them to their house, right?
Yeah.
That's vengeance. I think that's immoral, right? So I think that's a better way to say it, right? Like say collectively the entire population of whatever of country X breaks into country Y's home and steals a bunch of stuff and leaves. I'm not, collectively, I'm not going to follow them back and do that. And I don't think we should do that as a country either.
Let's hone in on that because I don't even think it's like, it's not even just like it's immoral. It's like when you kind of understand that person doesn't have a demon inside of him. Me and Erica were talking about this.
Exactly.
Like that guy is not in. It's not like he a sinner.
He's not.
Or he may be whatever.
He's not an evil person.
Yeah. That guy has something like broken in his brain.
He's wrong, but he's not evil.
Nobody's taught him libertarian ethics.
Yeah.
Or there, in some cases like we've talked about, like legitimately like something is medically wrong with that person. That, like I've said
There's
before,
a reason the way they are,
if somebody is hurting people, you have to do something about that. But vengeance, it's not even like just that it's immoral. It's like it's unnecessary.
Right. If
it,
we could,
it shouldn't make you feel like I understand. Like okay, like somebody murdered my kid. Nobody's gonna stop me from trying to find that person and killing them. That's just an emotional thing I can't get away from. Right. That's real life. But at the end of the day, that's like, and it won't make me feel better. No. It won't. I don't think so. I'm talking about stuff I have no idea.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, like the most important thing. And I'm thinking about this specifically with my daughter. Like what that person did was like really disgusting, and him dying, like all of that stuff doesn't matter.
It doesn't bring your daughter back. It doesn't do any of that.
Here's the thing that matters: like my kid's gone,
right,
and nothing changes that. Am I saying that guy should be like allowed to move in next door to me? I'm not saying that. You have to deal with a person that has the potential to go kill a kid again, right?
But,
you have to do something. Like that is the guy that you might put in a cage or something.
The idea that you want him to suffer the same way you suffered, that's wrong.
It's unnecessary. It doesn't help. That's a sick person.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Think about it like this: if someone did do that, right? Someone was a murderer, right? And he murdered your daughter, and it was, that's terrible. That's what an awful human being that would be, right? Like what a terrible thing has happened to the world, whenever something like that happens. But, you put him in jail, right? And you say, I have this pill that's going to fix him, right? This like thing that's going to fix all your brain wirings, and you're not going to be an evil person anymore, right? It's like saying, like, I have this, it's going to fix him, but I'm not going to give it to him for punishment, right? I'm going to punish him for it, even though I could cure his problem, right? Like, that's the thing is they have a problem. They're not evil,
It's a very like unthoughtful position, and I think the majority of people just think like that's a bad person. Like everybody should be able to watch him die on TV.
What a terrible thing to think, though. Like that's
I grew up like that.
You know, I
grew up as a warmonger.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I did too. I was originally for capital punishment when I was younger. You know, but
Yeah.
I was a fucking kid. I was stupid.
Yeah,
and then as soon as I
exactly.
grew up and I started thinking about it, I'm like, all right, let's apply this to things. Let's make sure
Yeah.
I'm consistent with my ideas, right? And then you're like, shit like that's bad.
We're
you know?
very fortunate that we had, and I mean, honestly, like people communicate now. That's what it comes down to is we
That
have
is
the
what it
internet.
is, yeah.
Like in the olden days, you grew up thinking that, and you knew like 2 people.
Right.
So nobody ever changed your mind. You didn't talk to anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then like maybe once we got like books and libraries, it started to kind of change. But now I think there's a lot of bad stuff that comes with that. But I think maybe we'll see, like I was saying, maybe we'll see like ethics really, and that's what we're doing now is we're hashing this stuff out,
Right.
and we're putting it out there. But I guess to get back on track with war, the outcome typically is you have a lot of people on both sides that are dying, and some are people that signed up to fight, and a lot of people didn't. You know, whether they're drafted or they're just civilians or whatever it is,
Right.
that are dying because a very, very, very small centralized amount of people decided to start a fight with each other.
Yeah.
The-
Exactly. It's the U.S. government decided to fight, you know, whatever government we happen to be at war with, right?
Yeah.
And all the individuals who, you know, want nothing to do with it are oftentimes caught in the crossfire. Right?
Yeah, and even
I don't have a choice but to fund this war. You know,
Right.
I don't want to. you know?
in an anarcho-capitalist society, you may end up with the odd warlord problem, as somebody might call it here and there. You may have somebody that goes and tries to, as I see it, set up a government. You know,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
that tries to coerce
A
people,
mafia or whatever. It's all the same. You know.
but in a decentralized, you know, system, especially where people at this point kind of understand that what this guy's doing is starting a really offensive organization that's coercing people. I don't think it would fly for long.
Right.
But it's still going to be a smaller instance of it. That, I mean, like I said, you have to realize what's going on now is we've constantly our whole life's been at war.
Our whole life.
At least you and me. I mean, you know, even if it's not Vietnam or it's, you know, not Iraq 1 or whatever it is, it's the fighting has never stopped because the money's always there and because a fuckload of people profit on it. Right. And I don't think those people can profit on it if we pay them directly.
I agree completely.
I think, do you have anything else for war? I think we've got, oh, fuck, dude. I think we've got a lot of time. I think we should cut it here.
Okay.
I mean, guys, I think next episode we'll probably talk about PCP, you know? We're not going to do a drug segment here just because it takes too much time and I don't want to bore you guys. I think this has been a really good episode.
I think so.
I think this
Audio problems. And
yeah,
tech
yeah,
problems,
and once again, we do apologize for the cuts here and there, but I don't know. I have a feeling like this may be one of our best ones.
conversation was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we need to stop having guests. They just
They're throwing off our vibe, man.
they get in the way. But yeah, listen, there are costs associated with the production of the Ancap Barbershop, and we would like to bring you, the consumer, more content because we're capitalists. And we want your money. If you would like to help us out, #please donate, we conveniently offer an abundance of avenues to do so. You can buy an Ancap Barbershop t-shirt, make a one-time or recurring donation through Bitcoin, give a per-episode donation of as little as $1 an episode using Patreon, or even advertise on the Ancap Barbershop. Flex your free market muscles and go to ancapbarbershop.com. You can also find us on facebook.com/Ancap Barbershop, the name of the show. Search Ancap Barbershop on YouTube, and eventually, if you guys go there and we get subscribers, which you should, you subscribe and like our videos, we'll get a custom URL, and then I won't have to say search Ancap Barbershop on YouTube.
Yeah.
I guess I should. Everybody knows how to work the internet. I could just say go to Ancap Barbershop on YouTube. You figure it out. But
Yeah.
I want to make it easy for Grandpa.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
Also, real quick, in the middle of this thing right here, there's the video from the previous episode. There'll be the video with this episode. I actually put a vlog up from a day where on the weekend, me and Erica and some of our friends went downtown and did some shit. and I believe the name of it is Downtown Bicycle Ride with women of questionable moral character or something like that. But yeah, go watch that. I'm not good at this video thing yet. I'm figuring it out, so don't be too rough on me, but I thought it was fun. Twitter and IG at Ancap Barber, or send us an email at feedback@ancapbarbershop.com. We love hearing from our listeners, and if you're not an asshole, we might even shout you out on the show. And that has been the 23rd edition of the Ancap Barbershop. Worms, guys.
Worms.
Oh, I just had to hear it one more time, man. It's so fucking good. Sorry about that, everybody. But, worms, y'all.
Worms.
Have a good one. We love you, buttholes.
This has been a Pax Libertas Productions podcast.
All right, and if you're listening to the podcast, this is where it's going to end. Go to the YouTube channel and watch this and like it and subscribe and watch to the end, 'cause I think I forgot to bring this up. We are about to do a quick little rundown of our new setup for recording, and also you can see our pretty faces. All right, bye, y'all. Hello, YouTube. Wait, we have to figure out okay, Adam, you had to narrate.
Okay.
Because I'm away from my mic.
Alrighty. I will do my best in narrating. I don't know what the names of any of these things are because you're the tech guy.
Well, once I get back here,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be all good.
Yep. He's bringing the camera over.
Doing a very good job. Wait a minute.
Is he? He probably not. God, we're so bad at this.
No, that's all good. Well, this isn't normal stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, nobody can hear me. I'm unplugging this.
He's unplugging it.
Okay. I do have power.
Okay, good. So yeah, this is our new setup. We have an external recorder now. Haha. We're not going straight into the computer anymore.
That's the big thing right there.
That's the big change. Obviously, we're on video, which you can see because you're watching this.
Come here, Adam.
Okay.
Here, you play cameraman.
I'll play cameraman.
That's gonna be. There's my Bitcoin flag that I got from Michael W. Dean. And there's Scott. All right. So really quickly, basically how this system works now. Previously, we were everything being like the outs of the computer for the sampler. This, if this shows up okay, is called Sound Plant, and this is where like all of my like little things like all my ads, my in and out music. This is how I do all this, and this is a pretty good program for this. You can customize stuff. But so that goes out of my computer. Everything sound-wise goes into this board, one way or the other, right? We have mics and different things. I have a headphone out that goes into my headphone amp, and that's how we monitor so we can get independent levels. This board is the Xenix. I think the Q1202, something like that. It's a USB mixer. It's a Behringer Xenix USB mixer, and 4 mic preamps, and then a bunch of other channels. And it's okay. I think it's like $70. It's not bad. It hasn't fallen apart yet. It's not great. Like sometimes with the faders, like you'll go down and then it'll like cut out, or it'll go like to one ear in your headphone, like at the like just shit like that. But I mean, it works pretty well for the majority of the time, and that may just be stuff that's in the like headphone mix. I don't know if it goes in the recording or not, but as you can tell from the podcast, fading in and out, everything works just fine, no problems that side of it. So everything goes into that. It gets mixed, it gets summed down, and it used to go from a USB cord into the computer into Reaper. Right, and Reaper is a free DAW that is really good. I really like Reaper. We were having some like buggy issues, and also like you can't, if you're doing that, you can't sit and do a bunch of other stuff on your computer, right? You can't look up stuff on the internet. So now we can pull up articles, and instead of having a big pile of paper printed out, I can just go into Evernote and do the whole show with my notes in there, which is great. So the big difference now, like I said, so instead of going into that, we just have our main out here, and what are these 1/4-inch TRS things summed into something or another? Oh, no, it eventually ends up being that same thing again, and it goes into the Tascam DR40 field recorder, external recorder, which by the end of this episode, the episode is actually plugged in because it died. So we record everything onto there. I can't show you the camera because I'm not going to do more than one camera. Sorry, it's a Sony something or another. It's a camcorder, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it records video, right? So what else? I don't know. Like I said, the sounds come from the sampler. We talk and we read shit off the internet, and I think that's pretty much it, right? I'll take this sound file, I'll throw it into Reaper, I'll throw it into the DAW, and then I'll edit it there, which is very, well, this episode there will be some editing, but yeah, that's it. Here, I'm just going to give you a good shot of everything, I guess. Oh, yeah, and that's Brooke for any of our weeb listeners or weeaboos. Erica got me this thing off Amazon or something. It's like real wood. It's cool. 245 shave gel. Go check that shit out. Oh, you know what? I forgot. The most important part. I'm sorry, this is going to be shaky. The most important part of our whole setup is the Shure SM57. I have an unreasonable fascination with these microphones, and it is reasonable because they're really good. This is actually, not that this means anything, Adam may not know this, this is what the President of the United States, when he addresses us or whatever, they for a long time now use a 57.
Neat.
Yeah, or like usually they'll use like two of them. But anyway, yeah, Shure SM57. This is the A2WS windscreen. It's an overpriced, like you can just get like a cheap condom and fucking duct tape it on. But this thing looks cool. This is a computer. It doesn't matter. But yeah, there's the board. There's the channels. Got them marked out. All the ins and outs. Still got Dave's name on there. And there's Adam's porn machine. That's really it. So there's not really anything else I can think of. This is a really awkward thing to do. We love you guys. Bye, YouTube. Smash that sumbitch and like button, motherfuckers. All right, later.